Good morning. It is just James with Feelings Friday, except it's not Friday, it's Saturday morning because I had technical difficulties yesterday with some of the audio. So thanks for joining me and sitting with me on the super spectacular Saturday. And so I'll now tell you the story behind this picture. So last Sunday I got scammed, and it was only $100, which it's not nothing, but it could have been way worse. So the reason I got scammed is, first, I didn't pay attention to one detail that would have tipped me off, so lesson learned there. But I decided to take another trip in my journey here, and that's going to be a little bit on the physical side. And I'm not going to be in the gym 6 hours a day or anything, but it's just going to be a little bit healthier eating, healthier living in that regard, especially as we start to progress and evolve in the mental and emotional parts. I think it's now time to add a little bit of enhancement, we'll say, to the physical side. Someone told me I can't eat hamburgers all day, every day, but I disagree. I really could. I just know that's probably not healthy, even though you can get all the food groups in one hamburger if you're creative. So anyway, I got scammed. So I go on Facebook Marketplace and I'm looking for this item I've been looking for a long time, and it was a really good price. So I said, okay, well, let's do this. So I get a hold of the seller. We get everything lined up. I said, hey, it's going to take me a while to drive, but that's okay. I'll come over. And they said, okay, well, can you pay for it up front? I was, I'll pay a deposit. I'm not going to pay the whole thing. That's a little sketchy. So I pay the deposit. They confirm it. And then I start researching campgrounds and hotels and stuff because I'm just going to go on a whim. And so the following morning I get up, go out and help my parents with some stuff. And then I get back to the house and I throw in the sleeping bag, the tent, the coffee packets, my coffee mug, and a couple other things. The hammock's always in the truck. Always recommend you keep a hammock in your vehicle no matter what, because you never know when you're going to need to stop and just pull over and relax. So anyway, I threw in a couple camp meals and my backpacking stove and my trusty pack, which is always ready to go. And I fill up the animal's food and water bowl, and then I get in the truck and I start to go. And I'm driving and I'm going the speed limit because, you know, you have to go the speed limit. It's hashtag State Farm or Liberty Mutual or USA, whichever one you subscribe to. So drive the speed limit, drive safely, wear your seatbelt, no talking on the phone while you're driving. So I'm getting hungry, so then I pull over to the Subway. If you're ever in a hurry, don't go to the Subway because it's going to take forever, even if you're the only one in line. However, the employees are just the nicest people, and I love talking to them. So anyway, I get to lunch and we start driving again, and I get over to the other side of the state in the amount of time that it should take, and I decided to pull over to the first campsite I researched, because there's only a few first come first serve spots in these campsites, and I had the hotel back up just in case. I knew there was availability there, but I wanted to be more of a rustic adventure. And so I get to the campsite, and there's this one first come first serve site that nobody was there. And it's not even on the website, which is awesome, because then people are confused and they don't know if it's available or not, but it was. So I pull in and you do the initial campground assessment. You're like, okay, I can put tent here, proximity of camp table to campfire, tree spacing for your hammock. And none of those were great. But hey, it was available and it was cheap. And so I go to set up my hammock, and the tree placement's horrible. And so I had to attach one end to a tree, and then I backed the truck up enough that I could attach it to the back of the truck. Well, what I didn't realize was that kind of cut off an avenue of escape. So anyway, I get the hammock set up, and I was like, yeah, maybe I should set up a tent, maybe not. I look up, clear skies, no, not setting up a tent. And so I get out a camp meal and cook that. Had a chocolate mudslide dessert from a camp bag, which was great. and had my glass of wine. And one of the lessons I learned was bag meals are great. Just remember the Tabasco sauce and some extra salt. And with that chocolate mudslide, add some sea salt to it because it's wonderful. Anyway, so that's all done. And then I make the final decision. No, I'm not setting up the tent. I'm going to sleep in the hammock tonight because it's still gorgeous. So I go to bed. About an hour and a half later, I feel a couple drips. I'm like, yeah, I'll be fine. And then they start to get a little heavier and a little more frequent. And I was like, yeah, nah, it'll pass. This won't be anything bad. Well, 2 minutes later, it's a torrential downpour. And so I'm tucked in my sleeping bag, have my trusty poncho liner, which you always need, rocking in the hammock, getting soaked. And so I told myself, all right, you got to stay dry. So in my haste to get out of my sleeping bag, I flip the hammock, I fall out, hit the ground really hard. And now I'm covered in pine needles and dirt, my wet self, and I'm trying to get to the truck. It looks like a potato sack race. Absolutely classic. I wish I had the camera set up for that, but I didn't. So anyway, I open the truck door, throw everything in the center so that I can lay on the seats. So I'm trying to fall asleep on the seats, and I've slept in the truck before, but this time was just, I couldn't get comfortable at all. And then in the middle of the night, I had to get up and use the restroom. So, but I went out the wrong door, and I totally forgot that I had attached the hammock to the back of the truck. And so I'm stumbling around in the dark, and then I fall over my hammock, back into the dirt. So I kind of just lay there for a second. I look up at the clouds and stuff. It's still kind of raining, and I kind of laughed to myself that what the heck is going on here. So anyway, I get up, go to the bathroom, get back in the truck, and then I wake up at like 5 because I'm just not really comfortable, 5 or 6, but the sun's already starting to come up a little bit. And I get my camp chair out, and I make my cup of coffee, or I start boiling my water for my coffee, start the small campfire, and then I sit in my chair for a second while the water's boiling, and I realize, wow, this is pretty nice actually, despite the hilarity of the evening prior. And so the coffee's done. I take out the donuts that my mom made me. She always makes me donuts when I go out to the house, and they're wonderful, and I appreciate Mom so much for making them for me. But anyway, so I'm sitting there in the camp chair just reflecting on everything, and I didn't need to make the campfire. And in the picture you'll see that the hammock there's a stick underneath it, and it's kind of spread out a little bit, and that's because I'm trying to dry it out because it got pretty soaked, and I needed to dry it before I tucked it back in. But anyway, so I sent a message to the seller, hey, I'll be there, it's about another hour drive. I didn't hear back from him, obviously. And so I get to this place, and beautiful house, and I walk up the driveway, and I ring the doorbell, and of course nobody's home, right? And so the whole time, I mean, from the time I saw this online, my spidey sense was kind of tingling, but I was like, yeah, why not? Let's try it out. And so I ring the doorbell, nobody answers, and so I have to take the long walk down this driveway, and it's a long drive. It's a long driveway, and you're just kind of shaking your head, laughing at yourself, like, yeah, knew that was going to happen, but here I am. So I get out to the truck, which is parked on the street, and I find the seller's number online, so I text them, and they said, nah, it's a scam. I said, okay, thanks. And so what did I do? I sat in the truck, enjoyed the weather, had another donut, and then I decided that I was just going to drive home. So I get in the truck, and I start driving home, and go on the speed limit again. But this time the windows are down, the sunroof's open, the music's up, and it's just a wonderful experience. And I get back to the house, and I was going through some of the pictures I took, and I realized that in that one picture, there's so much happiness. And there's so many things I learned. And I said the first thing I learned was that bagged food is okay. Just remember your Tabasco sauce. But I think the biggest thing I learned is sometimes the universe is going to tell you what you need to do. And they're going to take you places, or it's going to take you places that you didn't know you needed. And I needed this trip. I needed to get away just for a little bit and just go do the things I like to do. And in a lot of my videos, I talk about self-care and doing things that are important to you. And I didn't have to make that campfire that morning, but that was important to me. And it's important to the overall feel and relaxation and taking care of what I think is important in my life and the experiences I want to have. And so that was a great form of self-care. Smelling the campfire, smelling the coffee out of my mug. And for those of you who know me, I don't like travel mugs. I prefer these, no matter the bumpy road. And I always get frustrated with myself because it like splatters out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, whatever. But it's worth it for the aromatics and getting the full effect of coffee. But waking up and smelling the greenery, the smell of rain, reflecting on that experience of the previous evening, having the donuts from my mom. There was so much life and love in there. And one of my sign-offs is live to love, love to live. And really that was what happened. And really to the person that scammed me, I want to say thank you. You took $100 in gas money, but what you showed me was just how far I've come in a year and a half. And you've shown me how much I've grown and how much I can laugh at myself and enjoy the simple things and how much those simple things matter to me now. You've shown me that it's not frustration and anger are an inevitable part of being human, but they don't have to override everything in your life, except when you're driving sometimes here, because some of the drivers are pretty sketchy. But all in all, that frustration and anger can't get the best of you. It's not who I am as a person. And I've realized that. And I've just realized what it is to be happy. And so part of this journey and another part of this journey towards happiness is this physical part. And I'm excited to start that journey. The other thing this scammer taught me was to be more spontaneous. I'd say the most spontaneous thing I've ever done is gone to Greece after buying a ticket one day prior and not knowing where I was going to stay there either, really, or how I was going to get from the airport to wherever this lodging was going to be, but I digress. So the spontaneity was great. You taught me to make a commitment to something, and even if it didn't work out, I was willing to go pursue that decision and that commitment to myself. So thank you for that. You taught me to take you taught me that how much of a genuine interest I have in people. I didn't have to stay there and listen to that Subway employee for 5 to 10 minutes and hear about their life and everything they had going on, but I did. And I didn't offer any advice or anything, I just listened. And there was nothing for me in that conversation, but there was so much for that other person in that. And I hope that person went home at the end of the day and said to themselves, hey, somebody actually listened and somebody cared at least for 5 or 10 minutes. So thank you to the scammer for that. And it taught me patience. It taught me sometimes it's okay and required in life to just get up and go, and not knowing exactly where you're going to stay or what you're going to eat necessarily is fine. And you also taught me that everything that's important in my life would fit in one vehicle. And I've got decent stuff. I have nice stuff. but it's not stuff I necessarily need. Everything I need fits in my truck, except my crazy little animal. He doesn't like vehicles, so I've got to give a little bit more space for him to kind of cruise around and figure life out. So, but all in all, thank you for teaching me that too. I don't need a lot, and get up and go and enjoy it, because life's too short to not. The only thing I can't fit in my truck is all your love and support, and but that's why I have a big truck, so maybe I can tow it behind me. But anyway, so this video, I learned so much about myself, and I realized so much about myself, and that would not have happened if I didn't get scammed, and so did the scammer. Thank you for taking my $100. I know you probably needed it more than I, so enjoy whatever that is, but thank you. I would have given you so much more for that one picture and all the reflection and all the realization behind it. So anyway, with that being said, my hope for you today, tomorrow, the next day, and the rest of your life is not that you get scammed. That's not a good thing. Pay attention to the details, because they're there. But that you take a minute to let the universe kind of blow you in a direction. And you take a second to listen to that direction. And then make that direction your own. Whether it's staying in a hotel, or whether it's rustic adventures, or whether it's a meal at a restaurant, or, you know, whether it's a meal out of a bag. Keep it simple and just go figure it out. If you have the time and the ability on a weekend, or whenever you might have a day off, do it. Just take that trip. Your adventure might be going to Walmart. Sometimes that can be an adventure. But just do it and enjoy it. Laugh at yourself. Because I still am, and I will be for a while. And laugh with others. Listen to others. And empathize. If you can't sympathize, at least empathize. And let them know that you're there for them, even if you're a stranger. Don't lose your trust in people. Sometimes that's hard, because you will lose trust in people. But don't lose your trust in humanity and the greater thing that's out there, whatever that might be. And so that's my hope for you today. There's lots of hopes in there. We'll break those down week by week, because there's more to break down there. So thank you again to the scammer. And so with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful weekend with the ones you love. Live to love to live, and as always, be well.